Hey friends, today we are going to paint 4 of my favorite watercolor flowers, the iris, the peony, the poppy, and the rose. And I'm going to use this gorgeous book, Flowers of the World, as my reference. So let's dive right in. This is the beautiful book that I'm going to paint 4 easy watercolor flowers from. And these 4 flowers are my favorite flowers. And this book is my favorite vintage floral book. I will be giving you a little tour of this book in another video, but for today, let me just show you the 4 flowers I'll be painting. The first one, I will be using this page to paint the iris. I'll be picking one of these, and then we'll be painting a peony from this page. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this one or this one yet. We'll see. And then of course the poppy, this is the poppy spread. I'm gonna pick maybe 1 or 2 poppies from here, probably one from this side, as these Icelandic poppies that I love so much. And then of course the beautiful rose. Gonna use one of these roses as my reference photo for this painting. So let's dive right in. For the supplies today, I'm going to use my Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Legion 100% cotton. This is a 9x12 block. I will be using my flat brush. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use my 3/4 flat or the 1/4 flat, but anyway, here we go. I don't have a lot of room to paint 4 flowers. I think we will just start. Spraying down my paints. I've got all my tube paints in this palette. All different brands, and if you're interested to see the palette that I use and the paint that I use, please check out all my supplies in the description below. Otherwise, let's get started on this painting. The first flower I'm going to paint is this iris flower, and I'm going to dip into my mauve, and this is going to be a beautiful purpley blue iris, dipping into my cobalt blue there. And you notice my palette's a bit gross right now, so I might just give it a little wipe here actually. I haven't painted in like a week, okay, so I felt really weird and strange not painting for so long, but I'm so glad I'm able to come back today. Alright, so a bit of dioxazine purple because my mauve is running out, and maybe grabbing a bit of permanent rose. And then lots of water. Okay, I'm gonna make a really nice, wet, flowing iris here. So using my flat brush, I'm going to be painting with this edge of the brush, this edge of the brush. So just play around with how it goes. So starting from the corner, just going to pull out this first iris petal. And then I'm gonna go and paint the other iris petal. Give the brush a bit of a wriggle, and you can always go in to amend the shape or drop in a tiny bit of color to give interest and hue. So here I am just dropping a bit of cobalt blue. And already I'm veering from my reference picture, which looks nothing like that. But I painted the iris a few times and I really enjoy doing this. Now you're just using water here. Using water, dipping some of that wetness away, dragging the sort of the beard of this bearded iris down. I also have a full bearded iris tutorial, which is one of the first few videos that I have done, if you want to check it out. Pulling out this petal here, and then, I don't know, maybe going into a bit of a Prussian blue indigo to get this one petal here. And then maybe dropping a bit of that blueness down here, up here. A bit of dots here and there. Just having fun with this gorgeous first flower. Let's not mess with it too much, okay? So we've got 4 flowers we want to paint here. That's the first bit of my bearded iris. Let's pull out a stem. So grabbing my Sap Green, And just from the middle of the iris, just pull down a very simple straight stem. And if you want to add a leaf, it goes right behind this petal here. Do so like this. And then what I'm going to do is, the iris usually has an orange center, just dabbing some of my gamboge right in the middle here, using the corner of the brush to just dip. Just be careful with the yellow, because yellow mixes with purple will not be quite pleasant, it'll be quite mud. So just a little dip, and I love that. A little trick that lots of people love to do with irises is just turn the brush to the back and just scrape out some lovely vein lines into some of the petals here. Beautiful. That's my first flower, the iris flower. Going on to the next one here. My next favorite flower to paint is the peony. Peony flower, love a pink, choose any favorite pink you like. I'm gonna go into this coral. Oh, isn't coral like the nicest pink ever? It's a combination of an orangey pink. So I'm just getting a nice pool of coral here. This one is Mary May, I believe. And I think for this peony, I'm gonna start with my yellow center. So I'm gonna go and grab, here I have some cadmium yellow, but use whatever yellow you have. You can use a lemon yellow. And then I'm trying to my best not to go too overboard with this. I'm gonna just dot the center of this peony here. Get this lovely center and then leave it. Wipe the pigment away, wash your brush. And then with a very wet brush, going into that pink that you've chosen, and basically just creating dabs of petals around this yellow center, touching the yellow a little bit here and there, and just work your way out, making sure that the brush is not too wet, and if it's too wet, it'll just really go all over and it could be quite a messy blob. And a lot of us are so afraid to paint peonies because a lot of us at the beginning, peonies really look like blobs. And you will get a blobbery stage for sure, but the trick is just to work your way slowly around and using a good reference photo or a reference painting that you like, and then just remembering to stop before it goes too large, okay? So I'm nearly there. I'm gonna just add a few more petals down here, and as you can see, I've just left a bit of white space here and there to indicate some kind of highlights. And then once I've done that, I think my blob is I'm quite happy with this blob. Try not to make it too round, so make the shape a little bit more uneven. So that's the thing about working and creating a peony. Sometimes it can get a bit too round, too square, too strange. And that's why a reference photo is so important, to remind ourselves that nature is very uneven and random, and you don't have to worry about making it perfect, okay? So I've got that happy blob there. And what I'm gonna try is get a small, maybe thin, round brush, get a bit of a deeper pigment there, and just drop it into the inside of some of the petals here. Just dropping it. To create that nice little glow, nice little depth. And then you might even want to go darker. Okay, so I'm grabbing some permanent rose here, which is a very fuchsia. deepening the depth of my peony. Some on the outside edge. Let's add some leaves now. Back to my half flat. Grabbing my Sap Green. Use whatever green you like. Maybe mixing a tiny bit of Prussian or indigo so that I have about a little bit of a different greens. I'm going to pull out very simple peony leaves. I mean, no one's gonna go, oh, that doesn't look like a peony leaf or whatever. So just have fun. You can just create classic leaf shapes as well. But I like to just pay attention to my reference photo and maybe pull one down here because it feels a bit empty at this spot. So I've grabbed some green gold just to give a bit of variety. There we go. Let's stop there. That's my peony. That's my second flower. Let's move right on. Beautiful Icelandic poppy. I'm gonna go and do a nice deep red one actually. I don't use red super often, but I will now. So I'm grabbing my alizarin crimson. You can use carmine, whatever deeper red you like. Just pick a color you like. You want to do orange poppy, that's fine too. And same thing, using the corner of my brush, I'm just going to make these petal shapes going around an imaginary center, varying the value of the paint. Just going to make some sort of more transparent, some darker, and I notice some yellow has escaped into that. That's totally fine. That's done. I'm not going to mess with it much more than that, except pull out a stem, which I want to actually use a size 6 round. And I apologize, the sun's just started to shine very strongly on my painting. So let me just pull the shade down. Where were we? This poppy stem, some sap green, and just from the center of the flower, just pulling a thin, wriggly stem down. That's a feature of a poppy stem. I'm gonna pull out a poppy leaf, which this one in my reference looks a bit like what I'm doing. It's got like these spikes. Maybe just another leaf down here. Okay, and then the last bit I'm gonna do with this poppy, I'm not sure if it's the last, but definitely I'm gonna just put some centers. So just dotting in a simple poppy black center here. Later on, I think I might go in and do a little detail, but we're gonna leave it for now. And finally, the last flower, my favorite flower to paint in loose floral, is the rose. So let's do an orange rose. Okay, grabbing some of your orange or your yellow, whatever you like, and using the corner of my brush, just going through this, making just little marks that you see usually in the middle of a rose, and thinner and thicker marks, just moving a brush around. And then of course we just wash it completely off, wash all the pigment off, and then use just water to touch working your way around this rose. Just easy petals. And what I like about the flat brush is that it does create a very unique way of unique angles. And it doesn't mean just because it's square doesn't mean that you're limited to just straight edges, because you definitely can get fluffiness from the rose as well. All right, so going back in with whatever color you like. So I'm choosing a bit of yellow here and just dropping the yellow, into spaces around this rose. And just go around until you feel that it's enough. And then stem time. A rose stem is a bit brownish, so I'm gonna add a bit of burnt umber into my sap green, and then pulling a simple rose stem out, leaf. And what I love to do a rose leaf is just doing that to my brush, with my flat brush. So using the corner to drag it out and using different greens to show some variety in the flower. There we go, and then maybe a leaf up here. And there you have it. The first layer done of these 4 flowers that I paint quite often loose style with my flat brush. Let's take a little break and we'll come back to do the next layer. And we are back. My painting is nice and dry, and I'm gonna go in with some details. You know what? I'm actually really happy with how these 4 turned out. I was really quite nervous about how this was gonna go, because I did try a 10 easy flowers video a couple of weeks back, which really came out quite disastrous. So this was my second attempt, and instead of 10, I decided to just do 4. Let's not be too ambitious, Crystal. So I'm mixing up a dark dioxazine purple and touching a bit of dragon's blood in there, just to make a nice deep shadowy detail mix. Burnt umber in there as well. Going into my first flower here, my iris. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my size 4 silver black velvet round, and just giving this lovely flower a bit of thin lines, just help define it a little bit. Okay, and this part of the process is really always very fun. I mean, you can go full realistic and just go in with all the layers of details, and there's plenty of YouTube tutorials online to teach you how to draw detailed flowers, but that's just not me. I like to have a bit of fun and go in there with different colors. So I'm just going to go into my gamboge here and just dot a bit more of that yellow, sort of yellow spots that you see on these irises. There we go. I'm just gonna leave it and not touch it any more than that. Going into a dark green, and it's always nice to just use a little dark green to maybe accentuate a leaf, either right down the center or up the middle, adding veins as you like. Boom! That's my first detail iris. Okay, wait, actually I'm just gonna softly take up some of that. All right, Done. Next flower. Let me turn the page. Get in the way of the camera here. We're gonna do the peony. All right, peony flower. Okay, this one is begging for some definition, I have to admit. Okay, it's just a bit blobby around edges. And I'm gonna use that same dark mixture. Not going to try to vary it too much. And pulling out some shadow lines that can help define the individual petals here and there. And just looking at your reference to help you along, and playing with the value of this mixture here, making it darker at some parts, making it lighter in some parts. And you do that by just adding a bit of water here and there. And yeah, just keep going until you are happy. You might want to make one side of the flower a bit darker than the other, thinking about sunlight and all that. I'm not going to do it in this one here. Just showing you how it can be, how it's possible to create some depth and fun into that peony. Of course, I've only used one color so far, which is this purpley mix. You're more than welcome to go back into maybe, like here, I'm just gonna go into that coral and then just dot that around as well. Giving a bit of visual interest around your flower. Okay, leaves, same thing. I can even still use this purple mix with a bit of this dark green I have, but shadow green. And just pulling out some thin veins. And also, if you have more of a opaque yellow, you can even give some of your leaves a bit of lighter veins. Just give it a go. You never know. And then maybe the center of my yellow here has been a bit dull, so I just go into a lighter yellow and just giving it another layer there. Done! So pretty. Happy with that. Very, very much. Okay, now let's work on this poppy. Poppy. It's gorgeous red poppy. I'm feeling I want to put a bit of orange into this poppy, so getting my cadmium orange and just... I know when I describe, I go just, and then I'll kind of stop there because it's sometimes hard to describe what I'm doing with the paint. As you can see, just bringing this orange mix around the light side of this petal. So you see, I made this petal extra light so that I can do this. Then maybe a darker, almost black Payne's gray to, yeah, just a bit of drama. Some drama here and there. Then maybe soften that down a little bit. I'm not sure how that will turn out after once it's dry, but you can always keep working on it if you're not happy. But I'm leaving it for now, and then going to my last flower, this gorgeous orange rose. Now I'm gonna use same cadmium orange, and I'm gonna mix it a little Scarlet Lake into it, because the scarlet is like a deeper orange. And And then just boldly going into the petals to create some just nice outline and definition, and even like cool abstract marks. I'm feeling like going with a bit of yellow now, so just working my way around the rose. Giving everything a little bit of pizzazz. Coral, and maybe just going around the outline of some of these outer petals with a very thin edge of this brush. How's that? Doing the leaves. Forgot to do this leaf here first, so I'm just gonna go back into this one. Just some veins. And then here, you can use a liner brush if you have one. I do have one, but feeling a bit lazy. And it's good to practice control, getting a thin stroke as possible on this other brush that you have anyway. Taking a step back, admiring your 4 beautiful flowers. I am so admiring them. I'm so loving them. I think they turned out really, really well. There we have it, the 4 flowers that I paint most often, that I love painting, the iris and the peony and the poppy and the rose. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, which one you would try, or even if you've tried it, let me know. Tag me on Instagram, I'm @CrystalTanArt. Otherwise, subscribe to the video, like, and I'll see you in the next one.